Chat with Agents. My name is Kevin Weedmark. I'm the broker-owner of Homemark Realty Group. We're located here in southeastern Michigan. And today we're going to be talking about, hey, should I list my home in the winter months? I mean, it is a common question that I get. It's also based on perception, right? I mean, society itself is based on perception, and perception is reality. And more often than not, you hear on the streets, you hear it on the news, you hear it on TV. The weather has affected our economy. The weather has affected my ability to sell a home. And all that has become so common that the perception is, hey, I needed to wait till the warm weather has been here. The grass is as green as it gets. The trees are in full bloom. Flowers are in abundance. Life is great. The sun is shining. It's 85. There's no humidity. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to list my home and they are going to come. There's going to be 50 people in my house all of a sudden. I'm going to get multiple offers and it's going to sell. There's a lot of things to consider there, obviously. But again, we're back to the perception that, hey, it's winter. It's cold. People don't want to go anywhere. No one's going to come. I'm not selling my home now. And not only do you perceive that, hey, no one's going to come, from your perspective as the seller, it could be a really harsh winter. These past 2 years, let's not kid ourselves. Here in Michigan, it was awful. I mean, you're talking. I was taking clips on my phone, snap pictures on my phone, and then sending them out to my friends and tweeting them, minus 17 degrees, minus 20, schools were closed. Granted, in those conditions, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're pricing the home at $100,000, it's worth $300,000. It's probably going to be difficult to sell the home. No one's coming anyway to buy it. They'll probably buy it online. But the reality is, selling your home, it's been statistically proven, has a lot of success. So all the naysayers out there and all that information, I mean, there are still a lot of things to take into consideration. I mean, look at some of these statistics, for winter listings. And winter is basically, the standpoint of it's December to March is what people consider the winter selling period. So it's not necessarily Q1. It's going to be the winter months. Winter listings are 9 percentage points more likely to sell. So you have a 9% greater chance to sell your home. You're going to sell it 1 week faster than you do any other month throughout the year, which is amazing. A lot of people are like, that can't be correct. And that's within about a 6-month period. They're taking that average of a 6-month period. And you're going to sell it for 1.2% more than your typical asking price. Now, granted, a lot goes into that. Hey, did I list it right? And that's when working with a professional, the realtor, and that's what we teach at Homemark is, look, let's really analyze that market. And that's where the professional of an agent comes in, right? Everybody is reluctant typically to be working with an agent. Some people want to sell it for sale by owner. And I see it over and over again. For sale by owners, they just price incorrectly. Either they're too low or too high. So you want to make sure that you got that selling point correct, but it's going to sell for about 1.2% more. I mean, when you look at the statistics, they were done from, a market study of 2011 to 2014. During the winter season, the likelihood of selling your house within 6 months was 65% chance. Okay, the average for all non-winter. And that's considered spring, summer, and fall. So it's everything else out the scope of winter months. You're looking at a 56% chance, and you're going to get about 3.5% less. Your average days in the market are going to increase to about 33, when in the winter it's 26. So it's really hard to understand. A lot of people are like, well, that doesn't make sense. It's cold. Who wants to come see my house? It's dreary, it's snowing, whatever the case may be. One of the major things that a lot of people tend to forget is society has changed so much in the fact that, we have so many tools available for us for people to see your house at any given time. I mean, how often do you find it's 9 o'clock at night, you may have a ball game on, you're watching one of your favorite TV shows, and you got your iPad sitting on your lap. What's more fun than looking at real estate? I find myself, granted, I'm in the business. Being the broker owner of Hallmark Realty, I find myself browsing at real estate quite often. But needless to say, I know a lot of people that just like to look at it. Different ideas. Hey, what's going on in my neighborhood? Man, I've always wanted to live over here on this side of town. Boy, wouldn't it be nice one day to move to Arizona? It happens all the time. And the other thing to really understand is, in today's environment, buyers never stop looking. A serious buyer is looking at new homes online 24/7. And this is even through the holidays. And it appears that they're ready to move, which is the nice thing. If somebody's looking 24/7 online, they're a serious buyer. They're ready to move. If the right house comes at the right price, they're ready to pull the trigger today. And more often than not with the holidays too, they have time. They're not working. They get a little time off. It's more acceptable that they're maybe not in the office, especially living here in Michigan. Automotive gets 2 weeks where they have to do whatever they want, right? So what's better than a serious buyer at that time being online looking at your home? Take for example, we just had the numbers come out for December for existing home sales, according to the National Association of Realtors, was up over 14%. That's an amazing statistic in the month of December. Again, winter months are a great time to sell your home. There's less inventory. You have a very nice home. It's going to show well. And people are going to be able to envision what it's going to look like in the summer months. Again, they're buying location and they're buying the inside of your home at that point. Looking at all the upgrades that you have. Have you taken care of it? Things like that. And again, I can't stress enough. There's much less competition, which gives you an added advantage should you be priced correctly and it shows well. So those are key things to be looking at. Another thing is, life changes for a lot of people. People at this point, you come January into February, and it's been statistically proven that listing your home in February is the most successful time to list your home. However, taking a step back, put yourself in the seat of the buyer. The buyer is in the process of doing what? Taxes. They're looking at all their financials from the year previous. They're looking at what their current house is costing them. What is their tax basis write-off? Whatever the case may be. More often than not, that may trigger a need to buy or to sell. And what that's going to do, it's going to give you a great opportunity to be uniquely placed in the marketplace that in the spring and summer is going to be saturated. So that's part of the reason why I highly encourage clients that want to sell or are looking to buy to get active in these winter months. And also, here's another statistic. An analysis of nationwide listings showed that 74% of homes listed in February sold within 90 days. 74% compared to September when 61% sold. You're getting a 13% greater return by selling in this cold month of February as opposed to the beautiful fall weather of September. And again, it's all perception, right? We've been told over and over again, it's a bad time to sell. Nobody wants to go out. The month is, the industry slows down. I hear it all the time from my peers and fellow colleagues. And I'm totally on the opposite end of it. I think it's a great time to sell, and I would highly encourage you to do it. But that being said, there are several things that you need to take into account should you decide to take that plunge, decide to endure the fact that, hey, I'm going to have to keep it clean. I'm going to have to go through this. Yes, I'm going to have to put on boots. I'm going to have to get out there and either look, or I'm going to have to keep my house tidy in the winter, which obviously could be harder, right? You're trudging snow. You may have potential people coming to view your home that are tracking all through the house. That's going to be another thing that you need to clean. Let's say you got a pet. Where do you keep it? Dog's running outside. He comes back in. There's numerous excuses that you can make, but as I always say to everybody, they're excuses. If you're serious about selling or you're serious about buying, now is a great time to jump at that chance. Okay? So the things that we really want to consider, let's assume that we've decided, okay, we're in. We decided we're going to do this. We decided we're going to list. We decided to take the plunge, Kevin. You've sold me. I think it's a great time to sell also because I think we have a great home. So let's do this. The first things that you got to have, you always take into consideration, everybody always says curb appeal. And while it's winter and it's going to be cold and it looks barren and there's no beautiful colors on all your plants and your trees out front, again, curb appeal still is extremely important. You always want to have your walkways clear. You want to have them, shoveled all the way down, ice removed. You want to have every path, and that includes in your backyard. So often I come into a home and they want to talk to me about listing or a for sale by owner, and they're kind enough to give me the opportunity to come in and sit down, and I look out back in their backyard, and their entire pathway is covered, and so is their porch, and so is the back deck, and granted, hey, I'm victim of that also. Why would I go shovel my deck in the middle of winter when there's no way I'm going out there? The sunning chairs, they're idle till the summer. So, but you want to give the best first impression to that person. You want to make sure that they can fully understand and visualize seeing themselves outside in your back beautiful yard in the summer months, in the spring, in the fall. So you need to go out and you really need to take care of that, which means you need to stay on top of it, which means also, let's hope you got kids, mine are 16 and 14, that you can shove them outside to go do the work for you, because that's really what you want to do, of course. But at the end of the day, hey, curb appeal is important. Also make sure that as it warms up, today we have a nice, beautiful, sunny day here in Michigan, and yesterday was also sunny. Your house is listed. I get it's 25 degrees outside, but if you haven't pulled all the stuff away from the shrubs, go out there and pull it. Maybe take a time to take all the decorations down so it doesn't look like it's not an upkept home. The second thing you also really want to consider now that you've decided to list it is it needs to be light and bright. Meaning that, even on the grayest of days, you want the house beaming. You as the agent or you as the seller, you need to make sure that every light in that house is turned on. Every single one. Now's not the time to be looking at the DTE or consumer energy bill. Now is the time that you really want to sell this home, right? The few dollars it's going to take there, the better it's going to show to that prospective buyer. And the buyer wants to see the house well lit. Who doesn't want to have their house well lit all the time? The ambiance is when you want to turn it down a little bit when it's warm and cozy for you. But when you're showing a home, you want to replace any bulb that's burned out. You want to have every single light on, and it is highly recommended that you want to turn up the heat. You want to get it so that it's warm when somebody goes in. Remember, it's cold outside. Where does everybody want to get to? I'm always like, get me in that warm car. I love the heated seats in my warm car. They give it such a good feeling. I'm like, oh, this is great. I feel wonderful. But I love cranking that heat too. It's a great place that you want to jump into when it's just absolutely freezing. And unfortunately, you had to park way out in that parking lot. So take that whole kind of thought process and put it in your head. They're in a nice warm car. They walk up your nicely shoveled walkway, and they walk up to the door and they go into a house that's 68, 70 degrees. It's warm, it's bright. Make sure that you open up as many blinds as possible, especially if you've got beautiful trees. You want to expose and highlight things in your home that were very appealing to you. So you want to make sure that you do that. The other thing is you want to do is you want to clean it up. Springtime, everybody's like, open the windows, it's beautiful, springtime. There are so many different cleaners out there today that can make your house smell really good. You can get on the floors, make sure that you got all the floorboards cleaned. You want to make sure that there's no cobwebs up in any of the crown molding that you may have, up in the crevices, whatever the case may be. You want to dust. You want to wash the windows or consider even removing the screens. Making the screens available, but pulling out those screens that maybe are a little bit old or perhaps are really some of the older screens that don't allow for good visual. You're blocking some good vision. Take them right out. Put them down in the basement. Let the client know that they're there, or put them in the back room wherever you have them. Make a note that, hey, they're available and they can go in there. However, we like to take them out and enjoy the scenery. So that's always something that you want to consider as well. The other thing you want to do is you want to highlight any features that you have. Hey, does your home have a fireplace, a sunroom that will appeal to buyers who are shopping in the cold? Do you live, for the summer months, do you live close to a community pool? You want to highlight your features. You want to create a flyer. My advice, whether you're a FSBO or an agent out there, and we do this, we stress it with all our Hallmark Realty Group agents, is you want to create a flyer for buyers to take with them that has a list of your home's best features. And if possible, include photos of that home with various times of the year. So clients can see, hey, what does it look like in the spring? Especially if you got beautiful landscaping, you've taken care of it, you got nice trees, nice foliage. You want to make sure that you do that. Another thing that you consider, especially in the winter, is, hey, give some incentive to a potential buyer. Attracting a buyer in a smaller market can be easier if you throw in something. So, for instance, you could throw in closing costs. Pay something back to them. Give them some incentive. Leave them with some of the appliances. I've seen it even creative of, hey, I had a client that left a snowblower. It was a beautiful snowblower. He paid probably $400 for this snowblower. A nice one. One that a typical buyer probably wouldn't go buy for himself. But the fact that the guy saw it, loved the fact that it was included, and was like, great, that's one less thing that I need to worry about. Again, thinking outside the box. Another thing is, you want to market your home. You want to have a clean, warm, and inviting environment. You want to have that a must when people come to your home. All right? So you want to make sure that all those things are taken care of. The other thing that we touched on a little bit briefly before, and it's imperative, it doesn't matter what the season is, but especially in winter. So, I've told you a little bit, hey, you got a smaller amount of homes for sale, and you have serious buyers. More often than not, people think that's a recipe of, hey, I can ask a little bit more for my home. I know that Joe and Sally just sold down the street for $200, but I'm going to go ask $210 because I really want it. I think it deserves it. And again, real estate's an emotional transaction. Whether you're buying or selling, it's just emotional, right? You like your stuff. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it. So you got to price it competitively the first time. That first time is imperative because people are going to be reluctant to look again. They just are. They've seen that listing. Unless they had a really keen interest the first time, it's going to be very hard pressed to reach back out to that client, say, hey, we dropped the price. So you want to price it competitively. Again, don't take into account that there's less competition. You need to really do your homework with your agent, get a competitive market analysis done, and find out where you should be and what features you have compared to what is sold. The other thing you want to do is get professional photos taken. I see this so often, and it's one of the things, and to me, it's such a pet peeve. You have beautiful homes. I don't care if it's $200,000, but especially in the $1 million range. They got 60 pictures listed, but I have no idea where I am in that home. None. I'm clueless. Is that the family room, the dining room, the living room? Oh, is that the kitchen? Oh, is that the basement kitchen? What bedroom is that? Is that off the back? I'm so confused at what I'm looking at. And again, first impressions are everything, right? I mean, in today's marketplace, when people are paying top dollar and they have access like they do to the internet, and they can look at all these homes at any time they want, you better have a very good first impression. Paying for professional photos is a must. That is something that either you, your agent, you as an agent are offering your client, and it is a must, and you better have somebody good, or you as an individual have to hire somebody in to take them. You need a professional camera, And here's my other little tidbit. As the homeowner, the person selling the home, you cannot in any way, shape, or form be discouraged when your agent says to you, you need to move this stuff. You need to take this away. You need to take this picture. I'm going to rearrange your furniture. Again, it's nothing personal. They have experience, years of experience in the industry, have sold thousands of homes. Take their advice and run with it. Another little thing, as I like to say, is know the football schedule. I know here in a couple weeks, we just witnessed last night the Broncos beat the Pats, which I'm not happy about, being a Michigan fan myself. And we saw the Panthers, who I think are going to take it all. They just look dominant. But Super Bowl Sunday is in 2 weeks. You do not want to hold any open houses in 2 weeks. You don't want to typically list in 2 weeks because you're not going to get any showings or more than one for the people that don't care about football, and that's going to be a very small percentage because either you care about it, your spouse cares about it, you're going to a party, you're hosting a party, no one's coming. So know the football schedule, right? When you're going to list, and know when you're going to do, when you plan to hold any open houses or anything like that. The other thing is, remember the basics. I walked around yesterday in a neighborhood, and I approached some homeowners just knocking on a couple doors, and water's leaking from the gutter, and it's forming a pool of ice. Now, again, they didn't have their home listed for sale, but again, you have to be really conscious of what's going on out there. You got to be really conscious of the first impression that people are going to have. And lastly, one of the things that I like to do is tasteful holiday decorations can help, right? It's always fun. Hey, the biggest one that's coming up now, we're in the middle of winter. It's cold, but Valentine's Day is right here. It's around the corner. What's better than big giant hearts? It's red, which is a power color. It looks great in houses. Be creative with that. Have some fun with that. Don't go overboard because, again, no one wants to know that you're a crazy Valentine addict and, nothing like that. But, hey, some tasteful decorations. Give somebody that warm, homey feeling like, wow, I'm falling in love with this house. So again, that was our topic for today. I hope you found some really useful information. Again, with I think the winter months are great. Statistics, again, as I like to say in this industry, numbers don't lie. Statistically, it has been proven winter is a great time to sell your home. So don't hesitate to do so. I would take it strongly into consideration. And again, as the industry continues to move in the direction of the digital marketing age, people's ability to get online 24/7. You don't know, somebody's up at 1 o'clock in the morning browsing through. You want them to be able to see your house, have it labeled, and look fantastic. So when they get up or they're emailing their agent to come see that house the next day, they can't wait to get in there. Today's digital age just allows people the flexibility to look at your home no matter what. They don't even need to get cold until they're ready to go see it. So don't hesitate to list your home. Again, my name is Kevin Weedmark with Homemark Realty Group. I really appreciate you joining our podcast today on why list your home in the winter months. Hopefully you get encouraged and get inspired. I wish everybody, agents as well as homeowners, the best of luck out there. And I look forward to talking to you soon. I'll talk to you next week and make it a great week.